As you may remember, this is the corner of the house where we find the doorway down to what I affectionately referred to as the gateway to hell, the cellar. And I've been doing some demo in here because when I noticed that there was like some water damage and I needed to open this all up to see if that was continuing. Well, it doesn't look like it, at least not since the vinyl siding was put on the house. But lo and behold, this here was a window at one time, and that was probably before. This is the underneath side of the stairway going up to the room upstairs, which seems to have been a later add-on to this house. And so, well, I didn't find any water coming in, but I did find some pretty odd lumbering going on. They didn't bother taking the trim off this window frame, which I've since removed, and now I've got to put stuff back and rip down a piece of board for that newer 2x4 to get all the spacing right. So when I go to drywall, of course I'll insulate that again before I do that, but when I get drywall, the lath is going to be put back up, and I'm going to insulate over the lath, or drywall over the lath, because as you can see, there's this insulation in the walls that are this blown in stuff. And I was removing it and then decided, well, that's silly, why make more work for myself. I took it out over here, so I thought I was going to use that wider space, but then it turns out I use this narrower space here, and that's where the internet comes in. That goes down and out the wall right into the terminator box that's mounted on the outside, so that the fiber just then comes through that conduit and comes out, and that's how the modem, which is now hanging in a bag out of the way, gets the fiber coming from outside, so I have internet access. So, but then we had a little masonite down here, and I was going to leave it, and thought, well, this place is notorious for covering things up, and so I pulled it up, and lo and behold, I found a nice 3-inch hole in the floor, and apparently discovered the ghost of toilets past. If you look down into the basement, there's all the drains go down now into the floor, into the sewer drain. Obviously that was there for the toilet. It was back here. This is a little half bath or something, I guess, at one point or another. So I wanted to pull all that wood out, so I make sure that if there was any leaking or whatnot and any rot, so I took everything out, and now I went out and bought a sheet of plywood, and I made this 3/4 inch plywood piece to fit in that opening. But the problem is the old flooring is 7/8 of an inch thick, 3/4 of an inch thick. So what I'm going to do now, I've got a bunch of scrap wood out on the deck. I'm going to go get the little table saw out, and I'm going to rip down 1/8 inch strips to go on top of these floor joists, and so when I screw this piece of plywood down in this space, it should come out right to the level of the old flooring. And what I'll do is I was left a big pile of laminate flooring upstairs. I will utilize that and put that down in this space here, just to make it look nice, uniform. And whether or not I continue it all around the sides of the hatch here is problematical, but probably won't happen. So yeah, my electrical panel, my main electrical panel. It's another sub panel upstairs. But yeah, so I cut all this out, and then I cut the piece of plywood to fit down in there. Now I'll go make the 1/8" strips and get them tacked down, I suppose, and then I can lay the plywood in and screw it down. A bunch of the scrap wood from demolition of the ceiling in this back upstairs room. Quite sure what they were thinking when they tacked this up before putting the drop ceiling down, but I'm just going to square it up a bit and get it down to a 2" width, and then I'll adjust the guide here for 1/8" and see if we can't get some strips made. I need to use all of this. I'll give myself a little bit of safety room getting this ripped down. So let's get this adjusted for 2 inches. And flip it over a 2" width. Alright, that's 2 inches wide now. Oops, kick the camera stand. Let me make sure I'm still set up here. And let me look at my length. If I give myself enough room, I figure if I got 48 inches, and I do have that. That'll work fine. And now, crank this blade up all the way. And be that high. And run this over to 1/8 inch. see. Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, maybe a little more. Let's gauge on the saws. Take into account this carbide tooth blade. Wider than a regular saw blade. So, alright, let's see if we can cut some 1/8" strips out of this thing. Okey-dokey. Well, running along the other side now, I'm getting another set of 8" strips, and that should be more than enough for this project. Alright, now I just cut them off of the board, and we'll cut them to length, set them on top of the floor joists, and get that piece of plywood down and get it screwed to the floor. Alright, let's see here. In ripping these strips, it's getting a little bit of a tilt in there, and one edge is thinner than the other. So I took a 1/2 inch off the thicker side. It's made 1.5 inches, which is more than enough for what I need to do here. But what I'm going to do now is take this brush and get out the possible chunks of wood, sawdust, plaster. Had to cut a notch around this one here to get that to lay in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack it in place, so hopefully it won't move around on me while I'm placing the plywood down, these little brads. And since I have an aversion to hitting my fingers with a hammer, I'm going to use the pliers here to hold the nail while I get that started in. And alright. There's going to be plenty. Oop. Yeah, see, they're too short to really hold it with your fingers, and I don't want to whack them. So I do sometimes get ahead of myself. Let's hold that down in there. And this corner here is going to be out of frame, but I'm just going to get any wood debris, get all this plaster dust, wood chips, make sure I have a nice clean base here to set this on. Get that in place. Since we're a little and we got a wire here for the light. It's in the way. You know, I might just, since this is split, that will hold that. And since they're kind of a bit of an awkward position here, I'm just going to get my little nail started. I want to keep getting ahead of myself here. One nail gonna be fine. Basically, I'll get that in here and set it down, and that won't be going anywhere. So, all right, same process here. Let's just make sure we don't have any debris in the way. You heard about the French cheese factory, right? That blew up. There was nothing left but debris. Debris, get it? That one started since it's a little further away. Yeah, must have got a little knot hole there. But I think that's okay. I think that nail in there will keep it from shifting around, maybe. That'll be fine. And one more piece. Let's get all the dust and cheese out of the way. And let's do this one more time. Get a little nail by the neck. One more. Just one. Go back in there. Go back in the bottle. Thank you. Talking to my nails now. I'll get her hold of it. Okie dokie. Now, let's see if we can set that piece of plywood in here. Don't need the nails or the pliers. Don't need all this stuff in the way. Piece of plywood is right here. Legs are in the way. We will get them out of the way. That little strip of wood there, and a little strip of wood here, because for some reason that little piece of 2x4 sticking out, and I think they wanted to make a smooth transition there for the plaster. But let's see if we can just tap this thing into place. Kapla! As the Klingons would say. Yes, I am a fan of Star Trek. Not one to go so far as to dress up like a Klingon, but see there's pretty even here. Now things aren't exactly square. I've got a increasing gap here. I may just fill up with a little bit of putty or something just to close that up, but otherwise there it is. There's the patch for the go get the drill with the and the screws and get this thing screwed in. Well, let's see. We got this floor sanded now. Had an issue with the smell of dog urine or something in this corner, and treated it with bleach and whatnot, and the last effort is to seal it, and shellac does a good job of that kind of thing. So that's what I sanded it down, got some shellac on it to seal it up, and it don't look half bad. I may just leave it like this. This is just utility space. Doesn't matter if that wood is there, but I've got this shelving unit. May have been a entertainment center from years ago. I can only think maybe that's where the LP records would have been stacked. You have a phonograph and possibly a little TV or something on it. But I've got it. This is where my modem and Wi-Fi router are. And as you can see, it's almost complete. I've got the drywall all up. I got my connection coming from the outside for the cable, and I had to leave this open here because I may have to still make some changes to electrical, and I will create some kind of a removable panel to cover that up when it's all said and done. But and I need an extra hand to get drywall screwed up over the top of this stuff that's underneath that stairway. But as you can see, it's a whole lot better. You know, we had that window there that you saw earlier, and so now we're in the final stretches of this part of this project, and yeah, we'll get back to it at some point, finish up this little area here and the rest of the drywall. But for now, it's workable, it's usable, and it don't look half bad. So I think we'll just probably go with this and not worry about covering it up with anything.